I remember when we were talking about writing the script, back in school, because I obviously have an interest in consumables. So the one day we had a group of police officers come to our school, and they were teaching us about all the bad things about drugs, why you shouldn't take them, what it ends up doing to you, and they were showing us pictures of dead people and crack addicts like scratching their skin open, and another meth addicted person who dug their eyes out, essentially trying to scare us into never doing drugs. Which, I mean, yeah, that did scare the hell out of me, but it got me curious. And thankfully, our biology teacher after that had told us, hey, I've got to somehow justify 20 points. So each of you are going to take a random assignment. I don't care what you take. And I want you to write about it. Write anything medically related. It could be about pharmaceuticals. It could be about diseases. I just want you guys to give me an oral presentation. And then Mikkucat, I'm probably going to give you all 20% anyway. Or 20 points anyway. They were like, cool. And I went searching around, and that's when the police guy came out. Or we saw the police guy still hanging around. I was like, do you guys have any of the drugs on you? And he's like, oh yeah, well, here, this is enough fentanyl to kill you. And shows me the fentanyl. I'm like, that's cool. Like, what? Here is cocaine powder. I'm like, oh, that's also cool. And he's showing me all these evidence bags with different types of drugs. And then he showed me something like crocodile. Crocodile, you inject into yourself. It makes your skin scaly and it eats you from the inside, but apparently it's very addictive. Horrible stuff, though. And that got me interested. I was like, well, cocaine's not going to kill you immediately, right? He's like, yeah, it won't kill you, but it will get you addicted. I was like, what won't get you addicted? He said, that's not a question you're allowed to ask me. And that's when I got curious. So I went home that evening, and I started doing research on drugs. And I found out quite a lot. So that is what I ended up doing for my assignment was, sure, we can tell you not to do drugs, but if you are going to do drugs, how can you do them safely? Because you can't get everyone to stop, otherwise, you know, we wouldn't have people to use as examples. So why, instead of teaching people to fear them, why not teach people to be safe? And that's what my whole thing was about. I had a whole placard that I stuck on the board, one with cannabis, one with MDMA, known as ecstasy, known as Molly, the street names, what kind of effects it has on your body, what it does to you, or what causes these effects. For instance, MDMA is quite an interesting one. You can't, that's something you got to keep in mind. If you ever do MDMA, I mean, probably won't, but if you ever do, make sure you're not on antidepressants. It will kill you. So MDMA works in the way of it releases all the dopamine in your brain all at the exact same time. Just completely sucks out all the dopamine into your body. It's a great feeling. It is an awesome feeling. It is bliss. But you have the hangover from hell the next morning. Well, the thing about antidepressants is if you have antidepressants, or if you're on antidepressants, it stops dopamine. It essentially stops all your emotions. Essentially squeezing all those little holes tight so nothing can get out. But then you take MDMA and it wants to open that, and it just fries your brain. Massive distraction. You're stuck with a headache. You become forgetful, if you're lucky. And horrible, horrible things. But yes, wrote an entire thesis. Spoke about all of this stuff to the class. Teacher didn't stop me once. Apparently the headmistress wasn't too happy about it, but fuck that bitch. When she found out that I was educating people on how to safely use drugs, she ended up calling my parents. And my mom just went, okay, did he encourage anyone? And she's like, well, no. We're like, okay, did anyone decide to take drugs after that? Well, maybe. And no one's taken any. And she's like, okay, don't fucking call me again. Hung up on her. No one even liked the headmistress, not even the parents. Yeah. And that's what kickstarted that interest. Questions?
Oh, I don't know, man. It's like so wild that you just heard drugs, saw those pictures, and were like, "Oh my god, I want to know more about it." It is, I guess, quite special thought process. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, this could be something interesting. I did always find it funny because the kids in the Elson unit, we have a system in our school known as the Elson unit. Those are the special ed kids and the kids who are in the school by government funding. They have their own separate section of the school. They were very special. And when I say very special, I mean one of the things that they got caught a lot for doing, they would take off their tie because we had to wear uniforms in school, dip it in the tractor's fuel tank and huff it.
What's wrong with that?
I mean, yeah, that's really bad.
You know what's wrong with that? It's like it got, as far as I know, same effect like nitro. If you smell too much from it, your brain gets kind of mushy, and you basically
It
get
displaces
yourself
oxygen
mushy,
in your lungs.
and then you're gonna end up in a grave. Yeah.
So nitrogen displaces oxygen in your lungs, meaning you're not actually getting high in an enjoyable way. You're just strangling yourself.
You know, I mean, just
You're
like in
strangling
general,
yourself
using
with
it.
lack of oxygen.
Just using it, like when I still used to be a car mechanic. You just hear these stories from people who just fucked up badly, and one dude was like just using a lot of nitro to wash something like really dirty, and he used it for a while, for a few hours, and it's like just using it, just having the basic fumes come up to your nose, just made his like got him like so sick and stuff like that. Not even death, just right on the spot. It's just like over weeks. It just ended him. Yeah, he just died of it, just because of all the fumes. Because it made something with his like head and brain. It just yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It just, and same thing happens theoretically with gasoline. Theoretically, I don't know. I didn't test it, as you can see. I'm still, but yeah, it's like many things in life. If you take too much, it's just gonna end you. It's probably way less than nitro.
Yeah.
But still, yeah.
There are very few huffable drugs in the world that you can walk away from safely. Nitro, you'll bust up your brain. So I guess journey began in high school, of course. Learning what they are. I think I sniffed glue a couple times, not to get high, just out of curiosity of could I get high? You can't really get high very well off glue. It just gives you a headache. As I learned the hard way. So I didn't touch drugs for a long time until I left school. The first drug that I had ever taken in my life was... Well, can you consider weed a drug?
Yeah, it
Well,
still fits the topic.
Yeah, I guess I smoked weed, and weed was good. Weed was really good. I enjoyed it. I smoked weed with my sister because weed had just become legal in South Africa, and in turn, there were people who went walking around all of South Africa with big buckets and big dustbins full of weed and just handing it out for free. I think that was absolutely beautiful. It was just everyone gets free weed. It's become legal. There's just bins of weed just everywhere. And people going around with seeds and sprinkling weed seeds into like everywhere they could find and throwing baggies at everyone they could find. We didn't really have proper regulations. They just legalized and said, have fun. We'll figure out the regulations later. I've got this picture in my phone somewhere of these 3 massive jars of nothing but weed that me and my sister had grown. But yeah, the second drug I ever took was LSD. And I got a hold of some acid. I was living in the UK at the time. Ordered it from the funny websites online, from the darker side of the internet, and it arrived. That's the thing. That's one thing that I do want to bring up, though. If you are to buy drugs, please buy them from the darknet. I know it's the sketchier place to buy drugs, but it's the only place you'll find them clean. I know here in the UK, you can just go to your local street corner, but you keep getting given spice, keep getting given funny things. I'd been given spice. Thankfully, I never smoked it. I just binned it when I realized it was just oregano with like a chemical taste. I was like, yeah, no, no. But yes. I learned how to work the dark web from a young age, because when I was in high school, I was very curious. I wanted to see what's on the dark side of the internet. And so I spent my time researching and got on there for the first time, and saw credit cards, I saw bricks of coke, I saw all sorts of funny things. And I was like, this is awesome, but I'm too young to understand this. Thankfully, when I became an adult, I was like, I remember how to do this. As of right now, though, being that I've been on there for years now, I've got a whole system set up. Where is it? On my car key, I have a USB stick. Now, I don't know where my car key is. There's my car key. I've got a USB stick on my car key, which I dropped it on the floor. If I plug it into a computer, restart the computer, it starts up in its own operating system in Tails OS, which is a nice and happily secure operating system. Best part, at any time you can just yank the USB stick out. Computer wipes any memory of ever having that USB stick in. USB stick wipes everything that was on it the next time it's plugged in, which is a really cool safety feature. But yeah, there was probably, and a lot of you might remember a video a while back where they had done a drug bust on a college campus, and while they were looking at this guy's computer, one of the officers pulled the USB stick out and the computer killed itself. That's exactly what that is. I don't know if you guys ever saw that video, it's quite funny. And the police are just standing there like, there goes all the evidence. Everything that would have incriminated the student, just gone. This student got to walk free the next day. Because they didn't actually have the proof anymore that he ever did anything wrong. Anyway, yes. Second thing I ever bought, LSD. And I took it, slapped on my VR headset, and I had the greatest time. Everything was fluffy, everything was nice. That's the thing about LSD. You get 2 different types. You get needlepoint LSD and you get white fluff. Now, needlepoint is a more pure LSD. Some people like to go for less pure LSD for the sole reason of it becomes white fluff. White fluff is more of a fuzzy emotional feeling. That's why it's called white fluff. You get more emotional, you get more like cuddly, and a soft blanket is your best friend. Oh my word, a fluffy blanket becomes god tier. Whereas needlepoint, it makes visuals sharper, but you run the risk of if something bad happens, someone says something that upsets you, it hits you tenfold. Any insult towards you hits you tenfold. So you gotta be careful with which type you take. Normal standard dose around 125 UG. That should be more than enough. If you're a bit of a chubbier person, you want probably like 150, 180 for a first time. And it's just great. Now, things you gotta look out for with LSD, you stick the paper in your mouth. If it tastes bitter, like really strong bitter, not like basic paper bitter, because you shouldn't taste LSD. LSD tastes like nothing. But if it tastes bitter, as if you've just like stuck, what are those sweets called? Like really bitter sweets that are just
Undershot.
absolutely morbid and all people eat them.
Toxic
think so.
waste.
Not as bad as toxic waste, but if you'll
actually-
definitely know it's bitter. It like coats your mouth, and it's just horrible. Spit it out immediately. That's not LSD. That's NBMOE. which is a cheaper variant of LSD made by sketchy people. Now, it gives all the same effects as LSD, except you can overdose on it, which makes it very dangerous. LSD, you cannot overdose on. You can just meet God a couple times and get absolutely blown up by angels, but you won't ever, you won't ever have any real side effects of LSD.
If you still be careful.
If you still be careful. There is a 1 in 300 million chance that you have a permanent trip, but it's one of those things where it's like it's 1 in 300 million. You could go through 300 million people and not a single person would ever have that effect, or you could go through 300 million people and only 2 people have that effect. It's, yeah. I guess that's what makes it, kind of safer. Well, it doesn't make it safer. You can still run into that issue. But yeah, that's very rare. I think there's only been 2 reported cases as of recent. The second drug I ever took was MDMA, or also known as Molly, and we briefly went over that earlier. Yeah, Molly, usually the issue with Molly is it gets cut with a lot of things. It'll always be cut with things if you buy it from a sketchy guy, because they're going to add baking powder, they're going to add sugar, they're going to add stupid things to, turn a 1 kg brick into a 5 kg brick. And sometimes they try and be smart asses, and they stick funny things in there like, ooh, maybe a bit of fentanyl, ketamine, give it a real kick, get people coming back. You're not going to get a lot of people coming back when they're fucking dead. Stop cutting your shit! Oh, that's one thing. Another reason why I buy from the Darknet is, it's going to be clean cut. And cheaper. Speaking of, I've actually got someone who's... Yeah. Did I go over why I do procure less illegal things? So, the reason I do help friends procure these things is because a couple years back, I had a good friend who unfortunately OD'd on some... We don't even know what he took. He had told us he wanted to go for a trip, and we were all like, okay, cool, go for it. And he just never messaged us on Discord again. And we were all worried, and eventually one of us managed to find a obituary where he had unfortunately passed away due to an overdose of... I can't even remember what it was. He snorted something and there was something else in it, which was quite unfortunate. So it sat with me for a long time, and I know my friends use. I know they're responsible, but I don't trust the people they get the stuff from. So I ended up telling friends, like, if you ever want to buy anything, please come talk to me. I don't make any money off it, I just make sure they get something clean and they get a drug test kit with it. Because I care about people, I care about my friends. So at least I have the reassurance in my head that I'm still going to be able to talk to them in the morning.
Yeah, so if they are going to do it, you're making sure that they're going to survive it and it's not going to hurt them.
Yeah, it's like, I'm essentially the human version of a needle clinic, where we know you're going to do it, but we can make sure you do it safely.
Yeah, it's just like, you can't tell people you cannot do this and expect them to actually not do it. It's like this theory, maybe not even a theory, I believe they even proved it. I'm not sure. But it's just like, if you tell somebody to do something, they will be less likely to do it by themselves than you tell somebody to not do it. They will get curious and might do it. So, I mean, it is good to tell people, yo, this shit kills you, but it's also good to, like, you have to have both. It's like, you also have to tell them, like, yo, still, if you do it like this. Because they will get more, it will get more out of, like, yo, if you do this, then do it like that. Because usually, like I said, it's like, many people say, like, yo, this is gonna kill you. So it's like, become, like, it is hard to get information how to do it right. And if you just, like, especially in this moment, just tell them, like, how to do it too. It's like the brain gets activated, like, yo, I'm not allowed to do this, but I still want to do it. But this is how I do it. It's like you're more likely to remember it.
There is a very, very great website. It has a calculator, it has everything you need to know. It's called rollsafe.com. And it teaches you how to calculate your body weight on how much you can take. So if someone's giving you something, you can be like, hey, do you mind if I weigh this first? So you know that you're not overdoing it. It tells you what to bring, what to eat, what's beneficial for you while still being really fun to have on Molly. And yeah, it's a really great website. I think everyone should go give it a look if you are ever planning to do something. There are places on the internet which will teach you how to safely do something or how to do substances safely. You just need to look it up. For instance, the first time I did shrooms, I didn't actually think they were as powerful as they were. So I bought a chocolate bar that I split with me and a friend. Now, the chocolate bar was written as 20 milligrams, which I thought, yeah, that can't be much. Turns out I misread it because the M next to milligram was actually just a background decoration, and it was actually 20-gram bar. Now, we both had half a bar. Sweet Lord! That is known. So, 3 to 5 grams is normally a decent dose. 10 grams is what's known as a hero dose. You are gone. Your body is not moving. You are hitting every sharp-angled, kaleidoscope-looking ass thing in that headspace on your way up and on your way down. It was terrifying, and it was definitely not worth it, and it's put me off shrooms permanently. Because I can't taste it without my brain like having a spaz attack going, no, you can't eat this, this is gonna make you feel bad. Which is kind of odd, being my brain is so scared of that, but it's perfectly fine with DMT. Now, DMT is a fun one. Dimethyltryptamine is a psychedelic, but it's like the psychedelic of psychedelics. So, background information on DMT. DMT is a natural hormone that occurs in your body. It's what makes you dream. When you have larger amounts of DMT released when you go to sleep, you end up having lucid dreams. Dreams you can control, dreams where you can move around. DMT is also the hormone that's released when you die, and it releases in a large amount. It's a very intense feeling, and it's why people say, I saw my life flash before my eyes. It's your brain's way of saying, all is lost, we're abandoning ship, this will make the pain slightly more bearable. So your brain's idea of saying goodbye is just putting you on one hell of a lucid trip. Now, you can extract DMT from mimosa bark and from animals, but we don't extract it from animals because that's cruel. If you get it out of mimosa bark, it's a simple process. I can't go into detail on that. I can't explain how to make DMT on your video. That would not be legal. But it's a pretty simple process. You get crystals from it, and what you do with these crystals, you can smoke them. Or you can mix 50-50 with vape juice, put it into a shot glass, warm it up, and then vape it. And the first time you do DMT is absolutely terrifying. Because your body hasn't had this much DMT released all at once. It goes on the full assumption that you've just died. You get to experience death when you take DMT.
Yeah.
It is genuinely terrifying. It is horrifying. You feel like you regret everything in life, and up to this moment, it feels like you've just taken all the drugs all at once. This intense feeling that sits on you. Your chest feels like weighted. Your arms feel weighted. Your body is just wants to go. And then your brain's like, wait, hold on. Everything's fine. I'm not dying. And then you just go on this awesome trip. Your body is comatose. You're just lying there fast asleep because your brain, obviously knowing what DMT is like, okay, that must mean he's asleep, so let's make his body very restful and sleepy. But you leave your body behind and you go on this trip through these multiple dimensions. You meet these beings, these giant people online like to refer to them as giant elves. I still don't see the elf resemblance. You will bump into all sorts of beings and creatures, and a lot of people have become religious due to DMT because they say they've met God, which I fully understand because I have met. I remember I've got this lovely memory where I was on DMT and I'm walking through this massive Aztec temple, and I turn to the side and there's this big face brick wall, and all these face bricks have a little slot in them, and I'm looking at this and I'm tilt my head, and all these slots open up, and it's every single brick on this face brick wall is an eye that all just stare down at me. I'm just like, holy! And then I'll wander off and yeah. Tempting. Wander down a hallway and can't even remember. I remember being in a corridor and all these big Aztec columns and all these vivid colors and stuff are flying around me. And I'm there with someone who's like guiding me along on my trip, and I have these all, I like to call them snake puppies. If you ever do DMT, you'll know what I'm talking about. They're like long Aztec covered pipes with little faces, and they like jump all around you, and it's weird. I feel like such a crackhead explaining this.
It is a wild story to like just listen to. Yes, it's just oh yeah, that's like a good dream, man. It's like
oh my word! It doesn't do damage to your body. You can smoke as much DMT as you want because it's a natural hormone in your body. Your body knows how to regulate it, how to get rid of it. It only lasts 20 minutes. And then your body's already digested it. Doesn't show up in drug tests, doesn't show up anywhere. You just get left with memories of these amazing places, these obscure existences. You get to see yourself from a third-person perspective. Second time I did DMT, I did a lot because I wanted to fully break through. I wanted to be fully inside the DMT realm. I wanted to see what people were talking about the Great Kingdom. This is proper crackhead talk. Oh my gosh. It worked. And in turn, I ended up viewing myself from a third-person perspective and coming back into my body. You go through this situation where you realize you're just playing a character. Your entire life you've just been playing a character, which obviously your character is you, your personality. But when you're stuck with that realization in your head, you are now back in your body, and it feels like you constantly have to pretend to be this character again while your brain settles back into your mind, or while your mind settles back into your brain. It was just so awkward. It felt like I was doing a school play, because I kept seeing everything from a third-person perspective. Like, I've now got to pretend to be me. Questions?
Yeah,
A
so
lot.
with hallucinogenics, yeah, I've got loads. I'm invested in this. With hallucinogenics, is there? I've never done hallucinogenics. Is there a risk of like long-term emotional or mental damage through some of the trips you might see?
Sometimes, if you take acid, as long as you can keep reminding yourself, I'm on drugs right now, you should be fine. But there are people, I've had friends, who are freaked out, going, okay, well, this is too scary. I tried to pee in the toilet melted away, I don't like this. And because they're kind of...
Damn. Those are wild problems, man.
Oh my god.
The real problem is in the morning when you have to go wipe up all the pee from the floor.
Yeah.
Oh no.